The ballroom shimmered with gold light, laughter echoing through crystal chandeliers. It was a night meant to celebrate success, elegance, and unity. But not everyone saw it that way. When Alicia bent down to help a fallen napkin, a woman's sharp voice sliced through the music. Within seconds, a hand grabbed her designer gown, ripping it apart. Gasps filled the room. The woman sneered, convinced Alicia was just a black waitress pretending to belong. But what she didn't know was that Alicia owned the very company hosting the gala. And her husband, the quiet man watching from the corner, wasn't just anyone. He was a millionaire, and he had seen everything. What happens when arrogance meets truth in the most humiliating way? Watch until the end. Wait a second, tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Alicia Williams was used to being underestimated. Despite being one of the youngest CEOs in New York's fashion industry, she had learned to move gracefully through rooms where people's smiles didn't always reach their eyes. Celebrities wore her designs, her company valued in the millions, but to some she was still that black woman who got lucky. Tonight was supposed to be different. It was the annual gala for the city's elite, hosted in collaboration with her brand. Alicia had spent months preparing, hand-picking every dress, every color scheme, every detail that represented sophistication and inclusivity. As she entered the ballroom, heads turned. Her gown, a stunning silk piece from her own line, flowed effortlessly, catching the light like liquid gold. She greeted guests, smiled for photos, and tried to focus on the joy of the evening. But across the room, a pair of cold eyes watched her. A woman in pearls, the wife of an influential businessman, whispered to her friends. Her lips curled into a smirk as she eyed Alicia's dress and the glass she carried. To her, Alicia didn't belong. Not in that dress, not in that room. Something cruel was about to unfold. The night carried on with polished elegance. Servers glided between tables, champagne glasses clinked, and a jazz band filled the air with soft rhythm. Alicia stepped aside to check on the event staff, something she always did personally. She noticed a young server struggling with a tray, nearly tripping over the hem of her uniform. Alicia reached out instantly, steadying the tray with a smile. But that simple human gesture became the spark. The woman in pearls, named Veronica Harlow, had been watching. From her table near the center, she mistook Alicia's kindness for servitude. "Finally doing her job," she whispered to her friends, chuckling as Alicia stood to her full height again. Later, Alicia walked past Veronica's table carrying her clutch. She didn't see Veronica extend her arm to block her path. The sound of silk tearing shattered the air like thunder. Alicia froze. The front of her gown hung loose, the delicate fabric torn by Veronica's jeweled hand. Gasps rippled across the room. "Next time, waitresses should wear the uniform," Veronica said, her voice dripping with disdain. Laughter, uneasy, cruel, bubbled from her table. But Alicia didn't speak. Her chest tightened, not from embarrassment, but from the familiar ache of disbelief. It wasn't just the insult, it was the assumption. The instant judgment that her skin, her presence, and her success were incompatible with the luxury surrounding her was evident. Cameras flashed as whispers spread. "Is she the host? Was that the designer? Wait, did she just tear her dress?" Across the room, a man stood silently. His expression unreadable, his gaze steady. It was Michael, Alicia's husband. Known for his quiet confidence, he had built his own tech empire. Preferring privacy over fame, he had seen every second. The laughter died when he began walking toward them. Michael's footsteps echoed louder than the music. Conversations halted. Even Veronica shifted uneasily as he approached, his tailored suit glinting under the chandeliers. He stopped beside Alicia, gently placing his jacket over her torn gown. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. She nodded, eyes glistening. Then, turning toward Veronica, he spoke, not with anger but calm precision. "That waitress you just assaulted is the owner of this brand. And this entire event? Sponsored by her company and mine." The room froze. A wave of silence spread as Veronica's face drained of color. Her husband stood rigid, his jaw tightening in shame. Guests began whispering, phones recording. Michael continued, his voice firm. You tore a dress worth more than your table's combined donations tonight. But the real damage isn't fabric, it's dignity. Veronica's lips trembled, the weight of her arrogance exposed before hundreds. Alicia, still poised, held her head high. She didn't need to shout, didn't need revenge. The truth had spoken louder than any insult, and the world was watching. Veronica left in silence, her once perfect pearls trembling against her neck. No one followed her. The whispers turned into a current of discomfort. People realizing how easily prejudice hides beneath polite smiles and designer gowns. Alicia didn't let the moment define her, but she also didn't let it fade. The next day, news outlets picked up the story. "Racist assault at charity gala," the headlines read. Some tried to twist it, some defended it, but the truth resonated. Alicia released a statement not of anger, but education. Success should never need to be justified, and respect should never depend on color. Within a week, her brand's sales skyrocketed, not out of sympathy, but solidarity. People saw more than fashion. They saw courage stitched into every thread. Veronica's husband issued a public apology and donated a large sum to organizations supporting racial equality. But Alicia didn't care for his money. What mattered was the conversation now ignited in boardrooms and homes across the city. She stood on her balcony that evening, watching the city lights dance below. The world had seen her humiliated, but it also saw her strength. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge isn't anger, it's grace. And in that grace, a movement is born. Which country and city are you watching from? Let's keep this conversation alive. Take care.